All right, so you're prepping for a jewelry designer interview. We are here to help you totally rock it. We found this really cool resource called RoleCatcher.
Yes, their AI tools and career guides are amazing for getting ready for interviews.
Yeah, so in this deep dive, we'll cover some common questions you might get asked.
And we'll even sprinkle in some career insights along the way.
Plus, we'll show you how RoleCatcher's AI can help you stand out. So let's dive right in.
Sounds good.
Picture this. You're in the interview, and they hit you with this, "Can you tell us about your design process?" Sounds pretty basic, right?
It does, but they're actually looking for something a little deeper.
Okay, like what?
They want to know how your creative mind works,
Okay,
how you get inspired, how you take those ideas and refine them.
I see.
And super important how you handle feedback, because this industry is all about teamwork, especially with custom pieces.
That makes sense. And you know what, speaking of collaboration, RoleCatcher's Career Guide really emphasizes how important that is for jewelry designers.
Oh, definitely. It's not just about artistic talent. It's about communication, making sure your vision and your client's vision are on the same page.
Totally. So how would you suggest someone answer that design process question?
Well, tell a story, Mention your go-to methods for inspiration. Maybe you like to sketch, research trends, or even create mood boards.
Right.
Then walk them through how those initial sparks turn into a finished piece.
Okay.
And don't forget to talk about how you weave in client feedback throughout that whole process.
Yeah, it shows you're adaptable and that you value their input.
Exactly.
It's kind of like building a house, right? You start with a blueprint, like your initial sketch. Then you got to source all the right materials.
Yeah.
Just like researching gemstones or metals.
I see where you're going with this.
And of course, you got to adjust based on the client's needs, making sure their feedback is incorporated into the design.
I like that. That's a great analogy. Now, here's where you can really stand out. Don't just talk generally. Use specific examples from your portfolio. Did a client push you to try something outside of your comfort zone?
Right.
Or did you have to adjust a design to fit a budget? Maybe incorporate a sentimental element.
Oh, those little details make your process come to life.
Exactly.
Which is a perfect segue into the portfolio question we'll be talking about a little later on.
Perfect.
But for now, let's move on to a question about your experience with materials. So they might ask you something like, what experience do you have working with different materials?
With that question, the interviewer is basically trying to gauge your comfort level with a variety of materials.
Oh,
Have you worked with precious metals? Gold, silver, platinum.
right.
How about different gemstones and settings? They just want to make sure your skills are a good fit for their projects.
Okay, that makes sense. And this is where things get really interesting because RoleCatcher's Career Guide mentioned how there's a growing focus on sustainable and eco-friendly materials in the jewelry industry. So while you're talking about your experience, it's worth bringing up if you have knowledge of or experience with those types of materials.
Absolutely. It shows that you're aware of industry trends and that you care about those bigger issues. You can even tie it back to the design process question, mentioning how you factor in sustainability when sourcing materials. But just remember, honesty is key here. Be upfront about your experience, highlight any specific skills you've developed with each material, and if there's something you haven't worked with that much, be open to learning, Show that you're willing to grow.
Completely agree. It's about that willingness to learn. All right, let's say they throw this one at you. How do you stay up to date with current jewelry trends? What are they trying to find out with that?
Well, they want to see if you're truly passionate about the industry and if you can translate trends into your own unique style. It's about being informed, but also using trends as inspiration, not just copying,
Right, totally. RoleCatcher actually suggests some good ways to stay current, like attending trade shows, following industry publications, and keeping up with influential designers on social media.
Those are all good starting points.
Yeah.
It's even better to have some specific examples. Maybe mention a designer you admire.
Oh, okay.
Or a recent trend that caught your eye. Maybe even a niche publication you follow. Adding that detail to your answer shows you're truly invested in the industry.
It makes you sound more knowledgeable.
Exactly.
You know something else RoleCatcher talked about? How 3D printing is totally shaking things up in the world of jewelry design.
It really is.
It's amazing how technology is opening up so many new creative avenues.
Oh, sure.
They even have a whole module dedicated to different types of 3D printing software used by jewelry designers. I found that really fascinating.
Yeah, technology is always evolving, and that definitely impacts art and design. We could probably do a whole separate deep dive just on that. But for now, let's move on to a question that can sometimes trip people up. Can you tell us about a particularly challenging design project you have worked on?
Hmm. Now, why would you want to talk about a project that maybe didn't go perfectly smoothly?
Well, it's not about dwelling on the negatives. It's about showcasing your problem-solving skills
Oh, right.
and your resilience. It's a chance to show how you handle pressure, how you approach obstacles, and learn from experience. Remember, this field involves tight deadlines and sometimes really unique client requests.
Right.
Challenges are going to happen.
That's true. And RoleCatcher's Career Guide actually mentioned that, how jewelry designers often face those tight deadlines and are juggling multiple projects at once.
Mm-hmm.
So, talking about a challenging project shows you can handle those demands.
Mm-hmm.
What would be the best way to approach that question, though?
I'd say pick a project that really highlights your ability to overcome those obstacles, showcasing your growth along the way. The STAR method is great for structuring your answers. So describe the situation, the task you were given, the action you took, and the results you achieved. And don't forget to focus on the positive. Right. Highlight the creative solution you came up with, the lessons you learned. Show that you have a growth mindset.
I like that. That's a great tip. Okay, we've talked about portfolios a few times already, so let's imagine the interviewer says, "Can you walk us through your portfolio?"
Mm-hmm.
What should you really focus on there?
This is your chance to visually show them your creativity, your skills, your style.
It's like a visual resume, I guess.
Exactly. Your portfolio should be a tangible representation of your design aesthetic.
You know, RoleCatcher's Career Guide really emphasizes how important a well-crafted portfolio is for jewelry designers. They even have a cool feature where their AI can actually help tailor your portfolio to specific job descriptions.
Oh, that's a great tool.
Yeah.
But regardless of the tools you use, showcasing your best work is key. And tailoring it to the company's style shows you've done your research and that you're interested in their brand.
Makes sense.
When you walk them through your pieces, practice presenting each one clearly and concisely, talking about the inspiration in your design process. And pay attention to their reactions. If they seem drawn to a specific piece, talk about that one in more detail.
Like reading the room and adapting based on their interest.
Exactly. It shows you're observant and adaptable. All right, let's move on to a question about your experience working with clients. Can you tell us about your experience working with clients?
This seems pretty straightforward.
It is, but they're assessing a lot with this one. Your client management skills, your communication style, and your ability to handle feedback and meet those diverse needs. Don't forget, jewelry design is a service industry.
Right.
You're creating pieces for real people. So that involves understanding their vision, managing expectations, and building relationships.
RoleCatcher's Career Guide actually dove into this, how jewelry designers are constantly interacting with all sorts of people.
Yeah, clients, artisans, craftspeople, suppliers, the list goes on.
Yeah, so those communication and people skills are absolutely essential.
They really are. Think about framing your answer around your process for interacting with clients.
Okay.
How do you approach those first consultations?
Hmm.
How do you present your designs and get feedback?
Right.
And how do you ensure things go smoothly all the way to handing over the final piece? Use specific examples to show your approach to communication.
Makes sense.
Maybe talk about a time you went above and beyond to meet a client's unique requests, or how you handled a situation where the feedback was maybe a little bit tricky.
I love that idea of using real examples. Yeah. It makes your answer more memorable. You know, I was once at a craft fair, and I watched this designer handle a client who wasn't quite sure about one of his designs. He was so patient, explaining his process, sketching out alternative ideas on the spot, and really listening to the client's concerns.
That's a great example.
It was a masterclass in communication and making that client feel heard.
That's exactly how you turn a potential problem into a really positive interaction. Now, let's look at a question that lets your creative problem-solving skills shine. Something like, can you tell us about a time you had to think outside the box to solve a design problem?
Okay, so this is where you get to showcase your ingenuity, your resourcefulness. What kind of examples should someone choose here?
I'd say pick a situation where you went beyond the usual solutions. Show them you can think innovatively and adapt to unexpected challenges. And here's the key. Connect that example to the specific job you're interviewing for.
Oh, smart.
Show them how your creative problem-solving skills will benefit their company.
I like that. You know, RoleCatcher has this really cool feature. It analyzes job descriptions and pinpoints those key skills.
Oh, yeah.
That way, you can tailor your answers to highlight the most relevant experiences. It's like having a secret weapon for interview prep.
Absolutely. Speaking of secret weapons, let's talk about a technical skill that's becoming increasingly important.
Okay.
CAD software. The interviewer might ask, can you tell us about your experience working with CAD software?
This ties back to what we were discussing earlier, how technology is changing the game in jewelry design.
Yes.
RoleCatcher's Career Guide really emphasized that, how tools like 3D printing and CAD/CAM software are becoming industry standards now. So knowing those programs is a huge plus.
It definitely is. When you answer this question, get specific. What CAD software have you used? What projects did you apply it to? And what skills have you picked up? Be detailed, show off your expertise.
You know, I always think of learning CAD software like leveling up in a video game. The more skills you get, the more amazing things you can create.
I love that analogy. It makes it feel less intimidating and more exciting.
Right.
All right, let's move on to a question that lets you showcase your wins. Can you tell us about a design project that has been particularly successful?
So this is your chance to let your passion shine through, to show them what you're capable of.
It is.
What kind of project should someone pick for this?
Choose a project that you're truly proud of, one that reflects your unique style, and ideally one that aligns with the target company's aesthetic. It's a way to show them your best work and demonstrate how passionate you are about creating beautiful and meaningful pieces.
So it's like saying, this is what I can do,
Yeah.
and I'm excited to bring that creativity and expertise to your team.
Exactly. Explain what made this project so successful.
Okay.
Did you achieve certain goals? Exceed client expectations? Receive awards or any kind of recognition?
Right.
Highlight those positive outcomes and connect them back to your skills and design philosophy.
And don't forget to beam with pride. Enthusiasm is contagious. It shows you're genuinely invested.
For sure.
You know, before we move on, I want to quickly mention RoleCatcher's feedback feature. I think it's brilliant. You can actually type in your answers to these common interview questions, and their AI will analyze them and give you personalized suggestions to improve what you say and how you say it.
Oh, it's an incredible tool.
It's like having a personal interview coach right there at your fingertips.
Exactly. And speaking of tailoring your answers, RoleCatcher can also help you tailor your resume and cover letter to specific job descriptions. Their AI will look at the keywords and skills mentioned and offer suggestions to make your application stand out.
It's like having a secret weapon for your whole job search. But for now, let's dive back into those interview questions. Get ready for some more challenging ones that delve into leadership potential, conflict resolution, and more.
Sounds good. Okay, so let's tackle a question that can be kind of tough. Tell us about a time you received negative feedback. How did you handle it?
Oh, that's a tricky one. I mean, no one loves to hear criticism, but it's going to happen, especially in creative fields where you're dealing with clients and their preferences.
For sure. But remember, the interviewer is not trying to make you feel bad. They want to see how you handle it, how mature you are, how you use feedback to learn and grow. And jewelry design really is all about collaboration, so you're going to get feedback from clients, colleagues, even artisans. It's part of the process.
You know, RoleCatcher's Career Guide actually highlighted that, how important it is for jewelry designers to be open to feedback. It mentioned that successful designers see feedback as a valuable tool, whether it's good or bad.
Exactly. It helps you refine your skills and meet those client expectations. So when you answer this question, pick a situation where the feedback actually helped you improve, even if it was hard to hear at first. Briefly explain what happened, the feedback itself, and how you reacted.
Right.
Did you ask questions to clarify? Did you take time to reflect? Think about things from a different perspective.
It's all about showing that you're willing to learn and that you don't take criticism personally. Did you actually use that feedback to change your approach or even get better at certain skills?
Exactly. It's about turning a negative experience into a positive learning opportunity. Now, switching gears a bit, let's say they ask you, where do you see yourself in 5 years? It's a classic, but it can be tough to answer.
It does feel like you're trying to predict the future, doesn't it?
It is, but it's not about having a perfectly planned out path. It's about your ambition, showing how your goals align with their company. Think about what you want to achieve.
Okay.
Do you want to specialize in a certain type of jewelry, move into a management role, maybe even launch your own brand one day?
RoleCatcher's Career Guide actually talked about some different paths for jewelry designers. I found it really helpful. Things like specializing in bridal jewelry, working with high-end clients, leading design teams, or even going into teaching or writing about jewelry.
Those are all great options. The key is to be honest about your aspirations, but also show that you're genuinely interested in the company and the specific job.
So if the company's known for using cutting-edge technology in their designs, You might mention how you'd love to explore those areas and see yourself contributing to that.
Exactly. Tailor your response and show them you've done your research. Now, here's a question that might seem a little out of left field. Tell me about a piece of jewelry that you admire and why.
This one's not directly about your skills, but it feels like it reveals something about your taste. What inspires you?
It does. It gives them insight into your design sensibilities, what you consider good design, what influences you. It also lets you show off your knowledge of jewelry history, different styles, famous designers.
So it's like saying, this is what I find beautiful, this is what inspires me, and this is how it shapes my own design approach.
Exactly. Pick a piece that you truly love, one that you find visually stunning, technically impressive, or conceptually unique. Briefly describe it, who made it, what you admire about it. Is it the intricate detail of Art Nouveau, the bold geometry of Art Deco, or maybe the organic forms of nature-inspired pieces?
You know, I recently saw an exhibit of ancient Etruscan jewelry. I was amazed by the craftsmanship, the way they used granulation and filigree techniques. It reminded me that jewelry has such a rich history of innovation and beauty.
That's a fantastic example. Now, building on that idea of history and cultural influences, let's tackle this question. How do you approach designing for a specific target audience?
Okay, so with this one, it's super important to understand your client, what they like, and even the cultural context that might influence how they view jewelry.
It's about putting aside your own personal taste and really thinking about the needs and desires of the people you're designing for. Are you designing for a younger crowd that's super into trends, or maybe it's a wedding jewelry line that needs a timeless and elegant feel?
And RoleCatcher's career guide really stressed this too. A lot of jewelry design work is about making custom pieces for individual clients.
Yes, which means truly understanding their stories, their vision, and translating that into a design that's uniquely theirs.
That's quite a skill.
It is. So when you answer this question, give concrete examples of how you've tailored your designs for different audiences. Have you incorporated a family heirloom into a modern piece? Design something that celebrates a client's cultural heritage.
Those are great examples. It shows you can see things from different perspectives and create pieces that have personal meaning. I remember going into a jewelry boutique and being blown away by how each collection had its own personality, clearly aimed at a different type of customer. There were bold statement pieces for those who love fashion, delicate minimalist designs for those who prefer understated elegance, and nature-inspired creations for those who connect with organic forms.
That's a perfect illustration of how a skilled designer can appeal to diverse tastes and preferences. Now let's go a bit deeper into the emotional side of jewelry. Imagine they ask, how do you think jewelry can empower the wearer?
So this goes beyond just how it looks. It's about that deeper meaning that jewelry holds for people.
Exactly. It's understanding how a piece can boost confidence, express identity, or even serve as a reminder of a special memory or belief.
And, RoleCatcher mentioned the growing demand for personalized jewelry, which makes sense. People are looking for pieces that reflect their individuality, their story, their values.
It's a powerful trend. So when you answer this question, think about those emotional connections people have with jewelry. Maybe you designed a piece that helps someone celebrate a big moment in their life, or a piece that helped them connect with their heritage or express their personal style.
I once designed a ring for a friend who was going through a really tough time. It incorporated a symbol of strength and resilience. It was meant to be a little reminder that she could overcome any challenge. It was more than just jewelry. It was a symbol of hope and empowerment.
That's beautiful, a perfect example of how jewelry can hold such personal meaning and give people strength and inspiration. Now let's switch gears a bit and look at a question about conflict resolution. Something like, tell us about a time you had a disagreement with a colleague. How did you resolve it?
Okay, so this one feels more about your people skills, your professionalism, than your design skills.
Wow.
It is. It's a classic interview question to see how you handle those tricky interpersonal situations. The key here is to pick a real disagreement, but keep things professional and respectful. You don't want to badmouth a former colleague or reveal anything confidential.
Right. It's about showing you can navigate conflict in a healthy way, maintain positive relationships, even when you don't agree. So how should someone approach this question?
Focus on what you did to resolve the situation professionally. Did you really listen to the other person's point of view? Did you communicate clearly and respectfully? Did you find some common ground or a compromise?
It's all about showing you can collaborate, communicate effectively, and find solutions that work for everyone.
Exactly. And it's okay to admit that you felt frustrated or challenged by the situation. What matters is how you took those feelings and turned them into positive action.
You know, I read a book about conflict resolution once, and it emphasized the importance of focusing on shared goals. It's not about winning or losing. It's about finding a solution that helps everyone move forward.
I like that. Now, speaking of moving forward, let's look at a question about mentorship.
Yeah.
Something like, tell us about a time you mentored someone. What approach did you take?
This feels relevant for more senior design roles where you might be leading and mentoring others.
It is. It's a chance to show them you can guide and support others in their career. It doesn't have to be some formal program.
Oh,
It could be informal, where you took someone under your wing, shared your knowledge, your experience. It's about fostering growth and development. What are some things to highlight in your answer?
okay.
Focus on how you approached mentoring. Did you have a plan for their development?
Yeah.
Did you offer regular feedback and support? Did you celebrate their wins and help them through challenges? It's all about showing you can empower others to reach their full potential.
You know, I had a chance to mentor a junior designer who was new to the industry. We had weekly check-ins, talked about her goals, reviewed her work, brainstormed ideas. I encouraged her to experiment, take risks, and not be afraid to ask questions.
That's great.
It was really rewarding to see her confidence and skills grow.
It is rewarding. That's a perfect example of how good mentorship can make a difference in someone's career. Now, let's shift gears and tackle a question about time management. Tell us about a time you had to juggle competing priorities. How did you manage your time and ensure all deadlines were met?
Oh, this is definitely relevant for jewelry design. Projects often have overlapping deadlines, and unexpected things pop up all the time.
You're telling me. This question's all about showing you can handle pressure, prioritize tasks, and stay organized even when things are crazy.
RoleCatcher's Career Guide actually talked about how jewelry designers are often working on multiple projects at once, custom orders, bigger collections. Being able to manage your time and meet those deadlines is essential.
Absolutely. Pick a time when you successfully managed multiple projects with different deadlines and challenges. Briefly describe the projects, any conflicts, and the strategies you used to stay on track. Did you make detailed schedules? Use any project management tools? Communicate with clients and colleagues to manage expectations.
So it's about proving you can handle a fast-paced environment and deliver great work, even under pressure.
Exactly. And remember, good time management isn't just about working hard, it's about working smart.
You know what? I used to think multitasking was the key, but I've learned it's more about focusing and prioritizing. Breaking big tasks down into smaller chunks and tackling them one by one.
I agree. It's about making deliberate choices with your time and energy. Now let's look at a question about adaptability and learning new skills. Tell us about a time you had to learn a new skill quickly. How did you approach the learning process?
Okay, so this one is about showing that you have a growth mindset and that you're eager to learn new things.
Exactly. The interviewer wants to know you're not afraid of challenges and that you're committed to always learning, which is crucial in any creative field, especially one that's changing all the time like jewelry design.
Definitely. So what kind of example would work well here?
Pick a time when you had to learn a new technique, a software program, or a new design approach pretty quickly. Maybe you had to master a new 3D modeling software to create a complex piece, or research a new metalworking technique to meet a client's specific request.
It's all about showing that you're resourceful and can adjust to new challenges.
Yes, focus on the process you use to learn that skill. Did you watch online tutorials, take a class, ask for help from more experienced colleagues, experiment and practice on your own?
So it's about showing you're proactive and dedicated to expanding your knowledge.
Exactly. Okay, one final question for this section. One that focuses on how you handle stressful or unexpected situations at work. They might ask, tell us about a time you had to deal with a stressful or unexpected situation at work. How did you handle it?
This one feels like it's about emotional intelligence, being able to stay calm under pressure.
It is. Everyone experiences stress differently, but what matters is how you manage it and stay professional. Remember, deadlines can be tight, clients can be demanding, and unexpected stuff happens.
True. It's about showing you can handle those pressures gracefully, find solutions without getting flustered. What kind of example should someone choose for this question?
Pick a situation that shows you can assess a stressful situation, stay calm, and take action to fix the problem. Maybe there was a production delay that threatened a client deadline,
Oh, yeah?
or maybe you found a design flaw right before a big presentation, those kinds of things.
So it's all about showing off your problem-solving skills and staying composed even when things get tough.
Mm-hmm.
What are some key things to highlight in your answer?
Focus on the steps you took to manage the stress and find a solution.
Okay.
Did you take a moment to breathe and gather your thoughts? Did you prioritize tasks and delegate? Communicate clearly with colleagues and clients?
So it's about demonstrating that you can stay organized, communicate effectively, and take charge, even when things get chaotic.
Exactly. And it's okay to say that you felt stressed. It shows self-awareness. What matters is how you turned those feelings into positive action.
That makes sense. Before we move on to our final set of questions, I want to circle back to RoleCatcher and their awesome AI tools.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that.
I was super impressed with their feature that helps you practice those behavioral interview questions. You type in your answer, and their AI gives you feedback, suggests how to structure your answer, highlight key points, make it more impactful.
It's like having a personal interview coach in your pocket.
Exactly. And speaking of guidance, get ready for our last set of questions. These ones focus on your knowledge of the jewelry industry, current trends, and your ability to think critically about the future of jewelry design. Okay, so let's get into some questions that really dig into your understanding of the jewelry world. Like, what if they ask you, what are some current trends in jewelry design that you find exciting?
This is a chance to show off your passion for the industry. They want to see you're not just skilled, you're actually engaged with what's happening in the design world.
We were talking earlier about RoleCatcher's Career Guide, and they pointed out this big focus on sustainable and eco-friendly practices. It's so cool to see designers using recycled metals, ethically sourced gemstones, and things like lab-grown diamonds.
It's definitely a trend that's part of that whole conscious consumerism movement, and it's really interesting to see how designers are innovating in that space. You could even mention specific designers or brands that are doing great things when it comes to sustainability.
RoleCatcher also talked about the rise of personalized jewelry, which I think is fascinating. It shows that people really want unique pieces that tell their story and reflect their values.
Yeah, it's moving away from mass production and towards pieces that have meaning and sentimental value. You could talk about incorporating birthstones, engraving personal messages, or using symbols that are important to the wearer.
Another trend that I've noticed is that blend of traditional craftsmanship with high-tech stuff.
Yeah.
It's amazing how 3D printing, CAD/CAM software, even virtual reality are changing how jewelry is designed and made.
It really is an exciting time to be in this field with all these new tools and techniques coming out. When you answer this question, make sure you express your excitement for those new developments.
Yeah.
And maybe mention a specific technology you're eager to learn more about. It shows you're not just keeping up with trends, you're actively looking for ways to push boundaries.
Totally. Okay, let's switch gears and think about the future. What if they ask, what challenges do you see facing the jewelry industry in the coming years?
This is where they're checking out your critical thinking skills and how well you understand the bigger picture of the industry.
It's about showing you're not just a creative person, but someone who can think strategically about the business side of things, too.
Exactly. RoleCatcher's Career Guide brought up some key challenges,
Like what?
like the increasing competition from online retailers and how hard it is to maintain ethical sourcing in a global market.
Those are big issues, for sure. You could also talk about how e-commerce is affecting traditional jewelry stores and how designers need to adapt to those changes in how people shop.
Definitely. And then there's the whole environmental impact of making jewelry. Mining, processing metals, sourcing gemstones, all of that can be hard on the planet.
That's true. So it's about acknowledging those challenges and then talking about possible solutions. You could mention using recycled metals, ethically sourced gemstones, or how something like 3D printing could lead to more sustainable production methods.
Exactly. It shows you're not just aware of the problems, you're thinking about how the industry can change for the better.
Okay, let's finish with a question that's a bit more fun, but it still tells them a lot about what inspires you. Imagine they ask, if you could design a piece of jewelry for anyone in the world, who would it be and why?
This is a great way to end the interview on a creative and memorable note.
It's your chance to really let your imagination go wild.
Think about someone you really admire,
Okay.
someone whose story you connect with, or who represents something meaningful to you. It could be a historical figure, someone famous today, a personal hero, even someone you've never met but their story touched you.
And then describe the piece you designed for them. would be bold, delicate, and intricate. Something symbolic that captures who they are. Tie your design back to their story, their personality, or what they stand for.
Let that passion and creativity shine through. There's no right or wrong answer here. It's about showing your unique vision and your ability to create jewelry that tells a story.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into jewelry designer interviews. We've covered a lot of ground today. Different types of questions, key trends, and some of those big challenges facing the industry.
And we've highlighted all those great resources that RoleCatcher has.
Yeah, their AI tools and career guidance can be super helpful, whether you're searching for jobs or prepping for interviews.
We definitely encourage you to check out their platform, create an account, and see how their feedback and personalized insights can help you out.
It could make a big difference. And remember, while preparation is key, so is passion.
Definitely. Let your enthusiasm show, share your unique skills and vision, and don't be afraid to embrace all the exciting changes happening in the jewelry design world.
We know you'll create beautiful, meaningful pieces and build a fulfilling career doing what you love.
Best of luck in your interview.
And we'll see you on the next deep dive.